Nathan here at ECD Automotive in Kissimmee, Florida, and this may look like a very nice classic Mustang, but there's a lot more to it. Now imagine you had the ability to build a vehicle up from the ground up, brand new. I'm not talking about taking something that you had to strip down yourself and everything else and then build it back up. I'm talking about every single bolt brand new and bespoke. In other words, you had the ability to take a vehicle like a first generation Mustang and build it up. Well, that's basically what we have here. So have a look. This actually is one of their earliest models, but ECD will be building these vehicles on a line, and they will be essentially from the ground up building them exactly the way you want. Now, what does that mean? That means unique powertrains. That means unique interiors. When you take all of that and put it together, well, you have a rather pricey vehicle. Bear in mind, this isn't just something that you're putting together in the shed. They're actually going to have a production line where they're going to be building these vehicles. And here's the cool part. If indeed you had the means and you wanted to build something like this on your own, you'd be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you'd be doing it on your own and hiring little garages. This is a company that's been doing this for a while. As a matter of fact, you may notice around me, there are a variety of different vehicles that they've been building for quite a few years. That's including various versions of Land Rovers and, right behind the cameraman, Jaguars. Yep. Now here's the crazy part. This is a company that doesn't just build the vehicle and have them put under the hood your average V8. You can make it electric if you want. I kid you not. This thing doesn't have a problem getting up and going. I keep putting in the back of my head like, well, I would love to change a few things if this were mine. And that's kind of the cool part. I guess you could. I mean, that's pretty damn awesome. This car certainly isn't about subtlety. And I'm not about to go too crazy and go sideways and light up the tires and do that on a vehicle that is starting at about $270,000. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Woo! She sounds like $1 million. Oh man, what a cool car. Here's an example in terms of the way the combinations work. These are just the materials for the seats, okay? So you have all of these different choices. I'm excited about this because I just think it's cool that you can essentially make your dream car that happens to be a Mustang. And in addition, this is headliner. Right? All of these. See how if you start doing the math, you can start putting things together, and yes, indeed, you can come up with millions of potential combinations. This is one of the examples of one of the components you can get on the dash. And then here are some examples of paints. Okay? So all of this is here, and it all represents what is a substantially expensive vehicle. However, there's a good reason for that. Now, if I were to build something like that on my own, let's say from the ground up, and I was going to get just the Roush powertrain alone, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, paint shop, thousands of dollars, yeah, I would be out of pocket over $250,000. This one has a starting price of $270,000. Now, bear in mind that this company does provide a warranty and service. In addition, you can actually watch the vehicle as it's being built. Now, actual production of the Mustangs at ECD starts in September, but the lines are coming together right now, and that's going to give everybody the option to put together their own car the way they want, which I think is super cool. Now, why am I so enthusiastic about Mustangs? Because I used to have a few. I've actually had technically 3. So over the years, as I've worked with ECD and seen their vehicles, you can get electric, a whole bunch of other things, but with this vehicle, at least, this is the base engine. And what they're starting with is a Roush V8 that puts out 410 horsepower. It's basically a 5.7 liter powertrain. In this particular case, it's hooked up to a 5-speed manual transmission. So yeah, it's definitely beefier than what you initially got with these vehicles. And then you can go from here, and there are several different versions of this powertrain, and working on up to a much larger displacement powertrain and a much more powerful powertrain, and as I mentioned before, an electric powertrain too. Here I am, hanging out as a prospective ECD customer, as somebody who is going to be taken through the process electronically on how their vehicles are built. And I'm not just talking Mustangs, I'm talking Defenders, I'm talking Jaguars, you name it, everything that they have. And this is Brandon. Hi. And he's going to take us through the process.
So what we're going to do in this video is kind of showing a little bit of what we do through the design process. You have a meeting with John where Tyler, our graphic designer, is going to sit there in your meeting, whether it's in person or via Zoom digitally, and he's going to, as you make selections, and John goes through all the different options, upgrades, and accessories, Tyler's going to sit here and Tyler's going to actually create your vehicle real time for you, so you get a real vision of what it's going to be like to bring your vehicle to life.
It really does look like you can get deep into the minutia too, because I'm looking right now at gauges that are individually being chosen.
Just to kind of give a little bit of information on how in-depth we can get with the customization, we can take the gauge faces and we can make them body color painted. Like, we can make them match the exterior color of the vehicle.
Right.
We can get even down to the nitty-gritty of needle length. Say you want real shortened needles, we could shorten the needles on the gauges. And this is a great tool for us because our future clients can go on, they can build their own based on basic options, submit it to the sales team, which is what's being shown now, and it generates a lead for us with the sales team, where the sales team can then cater that response, that call, to the future client based off of what they're actually wanting. Like I said, we have a media team that takes pictures of the build full process all the way through. And so we utilize those photos to create this book and just give you one little piece of the puzzle at the very end to kind of cement the whole entire process.
That is so cool. So one of the things about ECD is that they have actually large lines that they're using to produce a variety of different vehicles, and that's including this Mustang. So what you're able to do is you're able to go onto YouTube and you can actually look at the vehicle that you are having built for you, and they have a live stream. So progressively, as the vehicle goes through the manufacturing process, you're able to keep up with it. So you can watch it going from essentially a rolling chassis. In this case, you're looking at a Land Rover, but below there's some Jaguars, there's even a Porsche 911. And you can watch it go from essentially nothing all the way up to a fully built vehicle. Now for me, considering the amount of money that I'm investing into a vehicle being built here, I would want to see it actually being built. And it is very cool to see what these guys are doing from beginning all the way to the end. There's something that's kind of fishy to me because I'm an old Mustang guy, right? And they are usually unibody. And yet you guys have this available to go underneath it if the customer wants. Am I correct?
Yes.
Can you explain what this is?
Yeah, so this is a full custom chassis to go underneath the Mustang. It's made by a company called Roadster Shop, and they build these chassis for a whole ton of vehicles. It just allows the car to be a lot more planted, more solid. You can have independent front suspension, you can do independent rear suspension, big brakes, nice sort of systems, much more modern drive, more modern vehicle. And a lot safer on the road too.
It just blows my mind because I'm so used to having this, which is an example of what you guys get when the vehicle first starts on your upcoming production line. Am I correct? You know,
yes.
Basically it's just an empty shell.
Yep.
And then this is the beginning point, and then we start working our way possibly to this if they want it.
Yep.
Or they can keep it to the unibody.
Correct. Right. Yeah. So the way we start with all customers, each car is going to be a unibody build. If they want to upgrade, so say they want to really go for like a high-end suspension system, and they potentially want to track the car, we're not going to offer a great deal of like customization to an original setup. We're going to get them to lean more towards a new chassis.
Right.
Because that allows for a lot more performance upgrades.
All right, now that leads me to, of course, powertrains, which is extremely important. That is Well, you got this on display right here.
We chose to work with Roush. And Roush are pretty excited by it. We're pretty excited too. We're going with like not the full range to begin with, but we are going to offer pretty much their full range if people want custom motors.
Now,
So
I saw the list and it looked like about a dozen different options right off the bat.
yeah. So we're going to offer the 347 and the 427 to begin with. We'll offer them in a carbureted and fuel injected. So like this is the 427 with the fuel injection kit. I mean, this thing's wonderful.
It looks cool too. And you can go all the way up to, and this is naturally aspirated, about 700 horsepower with the options that are currently available. Now, before we continue, it's not just Mustang. We were talking about Camaros and Corvettes that are coming in, FJs. I mean, there's a whole bunch of
The FJs are in. Yeah, the Camaros will probably be like later on, 25, maybe 26. Because we are expecting to fill that line with Mustangs.
For me, it's just kind of an outstanding idea to be able to go and customize a car in every way, shape, and form that you could possibly do it, and which explains why these cars have a starting price of $270,000.
Around there,
yeah.
yeah.
But if you were to go and do it yourself and go through all the various shops to go ground up,
Yeah.
you know, they would cost a pretty penny, of course.
It's tricky as well. I mean, it's one thing that we always do for people. It's the whole process here. So they don't have to go out and find a good car. They don't have to go out and title. They don't have to pull it out of a field. There's none of that. We take care of every aspect of the car from all the way from design through to registration.
And you have a warranty and service.
Yeah, 2 years on these as well, just like our all our builds. 2 years and 50,000 miles, but they very rarely get to 50,000 miles.
Outstanding.
In that 2 years.
So it's an unexpected combination of bespoke yet production line, and it all boils down to this: the upcoming vehicle that ECD is going to be producing, muscle cars, and specifically the Mustang, this Mustang. That's right. This will be going through exactly what you just saw. All of those 4-day phases, 8-day phases, everything else that's coming together to build a vehicle that's bespoke, but coming through that production line. I think it's fascinating. But here's the other part about it. Imagine being able to build exactly what you want and go through the entire process, not just being handed something and saying, here's a brochure, fill it out, but actually being able to do it using a computer, using human interaction. That's the other part that is fascinating. Thank you for joining me for the Fast Lane Cars. This is Nathan. I'll see you next time.